It was late afternoon in the gleaming headquarters of a large corporation, the kind of place where polished marble floors met glass walls, and the air smelled faintly of expensive coffee and fresh paper. Employees hurried in tailored suits, their eyes glued to screens or the ticking clock. Among them, invisible to most, was Daniel, the janitor. With worn hands and a quiet demeanor, he moved from floor to floor, cleaning up after people who barely noticed him. Daniel was used to being overlooked. He came in early, stayed late, and worked without complaint. He wasn't always a janitor. Years ago, he'd had dreams bigger than this building, a life filled with plans that never quite came true. Then came hardship, a string of losses, and the weight of responsibilities he never asked for. Still, Daniel carried himself with quiet dignity, even if no one seemed to see it. That day, however, was different. That day, someone saw him, and it changed everything. As Daniel polished the edge of a long mahogany table in the top-floor boardroom, the glass doors swung open. In walked a little girl, no more than 6 years old, wearing a pink dress and holding a battered teddy bear. Her big brown eyes scanned the room, searching for someone. She didn't seem lost, exactly, more like she was on a mission. She spotted Daniel and stopped in her tracks. "Are you my new daddy?" she asked, her voice clear and innocent. Daniel froze, his hand still clutching the rag. He blinked, unsure if he'd heard her right. "I'm sorry, what did you say?" he asked gently. She took a step closer, clutching her teddy tighter. "Mommy said someone kind is going to take care of us now. I thought maybe it was you." His throat tightened. This wasn't a question you could just laugh off. He knelt down so they were eye level, his mind racing. "Sweetheart, I think you might be looking for someone else," he said softly. Before the girl could reply, the heavy door opened again. A tall man in an immaculate suit entered, Mr. Harrison, the CEO. Everyone in the building knew him as the man who never smiled, a leader with sharp eyes and a reputation for being all business. But when he saw the girl, something changed in his expression. His steps slowed, his gaze softened. "Lila," the CEO said warmly. "There you are. I was looking for you." Daniel stood slowly, glancing between them. The girl, Lila, turned toward Mr. Harrison but didn't run into his arms. Instead, she pointed at Daniel. "Is he going to be my new daddy?" she asked again, this time to the CEO. Mr. Harrison's eyes flicked to Daniel, and for a moment, something unspoken passed between them. The CEO walked closer, placing a hand on his niece's shoulder. "Why do you think that, sweetheart?" he asked. "Because Mommy said the person who takes care of us should be kind, not just rich," Lila replied matter-of-factly. "He smiled at me in the hallway yesterday. Nobody else does." Daniel felt a lump in his throat. He hadn't even remembered that moment, just a simple smile as he passed a little girl holding her mother's hand. He'd been too busy with his cart of cleaning supplies to think much of it. But apparently, to Lila, it had meant something. Mr. Harrison crouched down beside her. "Kindness is very important," he said slowly. "And you're right, not everyone takes the time to notice it. But sometimes, the kindest people are the ones we don't know very well yet." Lila looked up at Daniel again. "You look like you'd take care of people." Daniel managed a faint smile. "I try to," he replied. The CEO straightened and studied him. "Daniel, isn't it?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Daniel said, unsure where this was going. "Can you stay for a few minutes after your shift? I'd like to talk to you, Mr. Harrison said. His tone wasn't cold, it was curious. Daniel nodded. Of course. When his shift ended, Daniel found himself sitting across from the CEO in his corner office, the city skyline glowing behind him. The conversation wasn't about cleaning or maintenance, it was about life. Mr. Harrison asked about Daniel's background, his family, his challenges. Daniel, surprised by the genuine interest, shared pieces of his story. He told him about losing his wife years ago, about working odd jobs to keep going, about how he'd learned that dignity didn't come from titles but from doing your work well. He didn't complain, didn't ask for pity, he just spoke honestly. By the end, Mr. Harrison was quiet. "You know, Lila doesn't warm up to people easily," he said finally. "She's been through a lot. Her father, my brother, passed away last year. Her mother is trying her best, but it's been hard. I think she saw something in you she's been missing. Stability, warmth." Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "I'm not sure what to say to that." The CEO smiled faintly, an expression Daniel had never seen. "Say you'll come have dinner with us tomorrow. No pressure." Just, let her see you again. Daniel agreed, still unsure why. That dinner turned into several. Over time, Daniel became a quiet but steady presence in Lila's life. He didn't try to replace anyone, he simply showed up. He listened to her stories, fixed her broken toys, and taught her how to make paper airplanes. He never promised more than he could give, but somehow, he gave exactly what she needed. And slowly, something unexpected happened. Daniel and the CEO formed a friendship. What started as polite small talk over dinner grew into genuine respect. Mr. Harrison, who had once thought power was built in boardrooms, began to see that true leadership was about compassion, patience, and humility, qualities Daniel carried naturally. Months later, as spring sunshine poured into the Harrison family garden, Lila ran up to Daniel with her teddy bear. "I know you're not really my daddy," she said, "but you feel like one." Daniel swallowed hard. "And you feel like family," he replied. Mr. Harrison, standing nearby, watched them with quiet gratitude. He had wealth, status, and influence, but it was a janitor's kindness that had brought healing into his niece's life. In the end, titles didn't matter. The world saw Daniel as a janitor. Lila saw him as a hero. And in her eyes, that was the most important job in the world. Sometimes, the people we overlook are the ones who change everything. And sometimes, a single question, "Are you my new daddy?" isn't about finding a parent, but about finding someone who will simply care. Because in a world that moves too fast, kindness lingers. And those who notice it, they never forget.